Approximately 67.6 million. That was the number of American workers who were working remotely in 2021.
The recent rise in remote work is arguably one of the largest business culture shifts since the advent of the 5-day workweek in 1932.
Before COVID, only 23% of professionals worked remotely. Today, 59% are working remotely most or all of the time.
And this is how the leaders of major corporations thought about remote work in 2021.
The biggest advantages, I think, are access to large pools of talent who don't live around the big cities and aren't willing to move there.
I think we've realized that if you have somebody in a particular location who's willing to work the hours to be able to collaborate, you can do it very effectively.
However, just 3 years later, it seems that some of them have radically changed their minds.
The laptop class is living in La La Land. It's messed up to assume that, yes, they have to go to work, but you don't. It's not just a productivity thing. I think it's morally wrong.
We want people back at work, and my view is sometime September, October, it'll look just like it did before.
It doesn't work for young kids. It doesn't work for spontaneity. It doesn't really work for management.
Factors such as reduced productivity, deterioration of work quality, and lack of communication have led employers to start calling workers back to the office. This sudden shift has left many employees at a crossroads, facing the difficult decision of either quitting their jobs or adapting to the new demands of companies.
A major point of contention between employers and employees is whether to return to the office full-time. It's at the point now where some staffers are ready to quit their jobs over the matter.
1 in 2 professional investors were willing to quit their jobs if their managers required them to spend more time in the office.
But this change goes beyond the labor sphere. It is transforming the real estate market in the United States. With empty offices and a decrease in property values, it could have widespread economic repercussions.
After decades of booming growth, the commercial real estate industry has run into a brick wall. Building values are plummeting, offices remain empty, and now rising interest rates could pressure the industry even further.
As we face this new labor paradigm, a crucial question arises. Is the era of remote work over, or is it just beginning? According to recent data from the Census Bureau, less than 26% of American households have someone working from home, compared to 37% at the beginning of 2021. This demonstrates a significant shift in labor dynamics, largely driven by the exceptional circumstances surrounding the pandemic.
In March 2020, many companies didn't have a choice. Many offices were shut, and companies started a huge remote working experiment.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, only 5% of Americans were working from home in 2019. That number nearly tripling by 2021 and continues to remain as high as employees and employers have shifted their work to now as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
With only about 5% of days dedicated to this work modality, remote work was not common before the pandemic. However, during 2019, many companies adopted this practice as an emergency measure, and it turned out to be surprisingly effective.
A new study from Harvard Business School says geographic flexibility can save money for businesses and staffers. Researchers found employees who worked remotely raised revenue and productivity and boosted their local economy.
Employees found ways to maintain high levels of productivity while enjoying benefits such as saving time and money associated with daily commutes and the flexibility to balance work and personal life. A survey showed that remote workers saved about 20% more money at the height of remote work in 2021. However, as the pandemic subsided and companies returned to normal operations, there has been a decrease of about 19% in remote work. Some companies are opting for a different approach, encouraging employees to return to the office. In a Resume Builder survey of 1,000 business leaders, 90% indicated they plan to return workers to the office by the end of 2024.
More and more companies are forcing millions of Americans to say goodbye to working from home and hello to offices and shared spaces.
The days of working from home are fading for more employees, now being called back to the office.
This change may be partly due to concerns about productivity, as some experimental studies suggest that remote work can have a negative impact on this aspect. A study found that completely remote work could lead to productivity decreases of up to 10 to 20% compared to in-person work. However, it is important to note that productivity is not the only factor to consider. For many companies, profitability is a key priority, and remote work can offer significant advantages in terms of operational costs, meaning a 15% decrease in operational costs for companies that have their employees working remotely.
A new study finds remote work leads to slower wage growth for workers, and employers, like employees, are reaping the benefits of it. Employers are seeing higher employee retention, savings on onboarding, and real estate costs. One of the study's authors told CBS Money Watch, employers say if it is a way to keep workers happy and moderate wage growth pressures, it's a trade-off we're willing to take.
Remote employees can be more cost-effective to maintain, which may partly offset potential productivity losses. Moreover, remote work can improve employee satisfaction and well-being by offering them flexibility and lifestyle choices. With 45% of American workers saying they prefer to work remotely, remote work has become one of the top conditions for people seeking employment in a company.
Nationwide are setting new return to work policies, but it does not mean employees are ready or willing to return.
There's a big disconnect between what management may demand and employees want.
If my boss called me and said I had to come back into the office tomorrow, I would probably look for a new job.
As companies consider their approach to remote work, it is crucial to address the concerns of both employers and employees. While some employees prefer to work from home due to the benefits it offers, others may feel more comfortable and productive in a traditional office environment. With 34% of remote workers admitting they feel more productive working in an office than from home, it's clear that the comfort of remote work is not suitable for all workers.
Twitter, Morgan Stanley, and many others ordering workers to come back to the office. The main concern is productivity.
The idea that working from home is just as productive as going into the office may not be as accurate as we originally thought. In this new study, researchers found, contrary to what many believed during the pandemic, productivity drops anywhere from 10 to 20% for people who work exclusively from home.
Nearly 56% of workers said their ideal job would be a combination of remote and in-person. So it is crucial to find a balance that meets the needs and preferences of both parties, which may involve adopting hybrid models that combine remote work with presence in the office.
Hybrid work is here to stay. A survey of CEOs found just 4% say they'll prioritize getting workers back in the office full-time this year. Bosses more interested in keeping their workers happy than keeping cubicles staffed 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday.
About a third of Americans are working on a hybrid schedule, and that number is expected to grow as more employers go hybrid.
Regarding the real estate market, the shift towards remote work poses significant challenges, especially concerning the value of commercial office spaces. Since the increase in remote work, commercial offices have depreciated by 10% compared to their value in the years before the pandemic. Remote work is expected to continue negatively affecting the office real estate market, which could have broader economic consequences, such as reduced municipal tax revenues.
14% of Americans work from home. It's been enough to transform cities like San Francisco. The Salesforce Tower, this one here, the tallest in San Francisco, the company only occupies a few floors of that one. They've given up about half of that tower there. That tower over there, well, that one they've announced plans to abandon entirely.
Ultimately, the future of remote work is complex and multifaceted. While it is likely that this work modality will continue to be an important part of the labor landscape, it is expected to evolve over time as companies and employees find the right balance between flexibility and in-person collaboration. Adapting to these changes will require an open mindset and a willingness to embrace new ways of working in an ever-changing world.
At Economy Media, your opinion matters to us. Subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments below.